keep breathing, keep exercising, keep doing stuff. Well, that's what we all have to keep doing now. We have to keep going. We have to keep innovating. We have to keep making a difference. Do not stop because it's tough. Because it's tough, because there are disruptions, there are more opportunities than any of us have ever had.
So Kathy Kolbe, she's an acclaimed theorist, best-selling author, and pioneer in her field. Kathy Kolbe was the first to prove the existence of cognitive mental faculty, which causes us to act, react, and interact. Believing that we're all equally perfect in our own way, she spent over 40 years collecting and analyzing cognitive traits to ultimately help us be ourselves. She founded Kolbe Corp, which is spelled K-O-L-B-E Corp, and was the CEO for 30 years, and is now chairman Emerita. Emerita. I always kind of screw up that word, but I think I said it right. Kolbe has been called Maslow's successor because of her work in showing how the three parts of the mind, cognitive, affective, and cognitive, affect the creative problem-solving process. Kathy now works to reform learning and wellness fields at every level. She has consulted with U.S. Department of Education, individual schools, pre-K through high school, more than 50 universities, and more than 200 health and medical organizations. Kathy now spends her time at her Skunks Works, Dynamed, Inc., continuing to develop leading-edge solutions for learning and wellness tied to her theory. And so the way this came about and how I wanted to just do this first for Genius Network members, which are people that have been invited on to participate and listen in to me ask her some questions, and then we'll do some Q&A with Kathy, as we had gotten together practicing not necessarily social distancing, but physical distancing a couple of weeks ago. And me and Kathy were sitting across from each other on a very long bench outside of like Waterfront, which is kind of where an area where we live in Scottsdale. And she was telling me about the educational system and how she thinks about what's going on with the, parents and kids at school, and just how everything's trying to shift and what's working and what isn't working. And she's always been a big believer that the educational system probably needs to be, I don't know, I won't put words in her mouth, but my interpretation is it needs to be completely changed or maybe destroyed in some areas. And so she's created Kolbe. We've used Kolbe for years. I first learned about Kolbe, the process, through a strategic coach. Many of you that are on with us right now are users of Kolbe. And so I said, let's do a Facebook Live and have a conversation about this. And Kathy's now 80 years old, and I also asked her, in your entire life, have you ever seen anything like this? And then Kathy, I'll let you take it from here. Why don't you tell people what I didn't say? Who really is Kathy Kolbe, and what is going on in your mind right now about what's going on with all this? And then we'll just go through some questions.
My mind is just going like crazy right now. It's hard to have enough hours in the day to do everything we're trying to do. This is a perfect time to make a difference in the world. And I know all of you on this line, you wouldn't be here if you weren't that kind of person. I have never seen a greater opportunity to do good things, do good works, make a big difference than right now. And the people on this call, I know a lot of you, and I know people you know. So what I know about all of you is this is the time, this is your time, when you're going to step in and you're going to make a difference. When we have so much disruption, it creates opportunities. And those opportunities are so important for us to take advantage of in all the right ways. There are people in a time like this who hide out, who have a feeling that they can't do anything, so just leave it alone. Yes, you can do something, and you will do something. First of all, in your own families, with your own kids, with your spouses, but also in your businesses, in your communities, because you're leaders, because you're people who know how to step in the breach. You know what it takes to get things started. You've started businesses, you've worked in community organizations. The people on this call have the ability to do what so many want to do, try to do, but don't know how to do. I don't need to give you lessons in that. What I need to do, I think, is talk to you about get real, get positive, get going right now. Do not wait for when they say, oh, it's okay to go out. You can do whatever you need to do from right where you are. I think so many good things are happening right now. People are learning We don't have to get in a car. We don't have to get on an airplane. By the way, I haven't been on an airplane in over a decade because of damage I've had in accidents to my brain. And I cannot fly without serious potential problems from concussions. Do you think that slowed me down or stopped me? No way. As long as you have a phone, I'm holding my iPhone in my hand. I don't have a computer. Eunice said, Kathy, wouldn't it be easier if you had a laptop? Easier for whom? Maybe it'd be easier for you because I'm holding it and there's probably a little jiggle factor going on with my hand here, but there's something organic for me. I love my iPhone and I love my iWatch. My iWatch keeps me exercising. I do 3 miles a day, 2.5 to 3 miles. I will not go to sleep until I've done it. And as Joe knows, because we're neighbors, there's a very safe place to walk without a lot of other people doing it. So I can get out in the fresh air and do it. If you watch Cuomo in the basement and you hear him talk about keep breathing, keep exercising, keep doing stuff, well, that's what we all have to keep doing now. We have to keep going. We have to keep innovating. We have to keep making a difference. Do not stop because it's tough. Because it's tough, because there are disruptions, there are more opportunities than any of us have ever had. Yeah, I know there's earlier in the decade, well, not the same decade, just the last decade, which is, within 10 years ago, we had slumps, we had problems, we had issues, nothing like this. In 80 years, I've never seen anything close to this. I mean, this doesn't seem real, but because it doesn't seem real, most people who've gone to school to learn how to deal with the economy, how to deal with reality, they don't know how to do what you and I know how to do. We know how to jump in, do what we do best, get things done, and make a difference. We know how to strive. We know how to use our cognitive abilities. Now, I may have created the Kolbe Index, but I did not create conation. That is a God-given gift to you. And it's one we're meant to use, especially right now. We are meant to be who we are. You all, I think, know your Kolbe result. And if you don't, go get it. Go Kolbe.com, Kolbe, and find out who the heck you are. You are not what your teachers told you you were. You are not even what probably your spouse sometimes thinks you are. You get called out for a lot of things that you are or you're not. And right now is the perfect time to go back, look at your Kolbe, and don't just look at it, listen to it. I created an audio for each one of you for your Kolbe result. I think a whole lot of people don't know about that. So Neil Moore, I know your MO. You need to listen to your result and be reminded. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell people your MO is.
I think Neil will be okay if you do that. And
Yeah,
if
but
he's
you
not,
can't tell me that. He's got to tell me that. Let's just say this.
He put it in the chat. Yep.
Oh, he put it in the
Neil,
chat. 2, 3,
Neil,
10,
you
4.
are a 10 in Quick Start. God love you. He created you to be one of a kind. Oh, when I laughed, my whole phone. I got to figure out a way to just make this sit up here. If it falls down, and I'll pick it up again. That's better, I'm sure. All right, Neil. As a 10 in Quick Start, and Gordy as a 9 in Quick Start. Oh, there's so many of you who are Quick Starts on this line. And you're out there, ready, aim, fire, no, ready, fire, aim. You got to remember that. Randy, don't do it. That's not for you. Those of you who don't have that Quick Start. Tim, yes. Randy, no. I can go through and I could tell you with each team member, he should do it. That.
Yeah, well, you know what I want to say, Kathy, for people that have not done a Kolbe, what's happening right now is in the chat line, everybody's putting their Kolbe. So can you do me a favor, because people that know it, but for people that don't, and I think many people have never had an opportunity to hear Kathy Kolbe herself explain, what does all of this mean? Like, what's the difference between cognitive and cognitive?
Joe, God love you. I've known you for so many years and you still don't say it right. It's
I know.
Conative.
Conative, I know. Yeah, if I had $1 for every time you've corrected me, it'd be. Yeah.
I'm going to start carrying a little penny pot around, and every time you say it wrong, even the pennies will add up to $1 million before long.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you what it is. Conation is not how smart you are. my dad, Wonderlic personnel test, that all tells you how smart you are. So what? You're smart. What do you do about it? I've hired smart people early in running my business, which started over 40 years ago. I used the Wonderlic, and I would hire really smart people. And then I would think, what the heck? You may think that's a smart answer, but it won't work in the marketplace. They didn't have what it took to understand how to sell or how to create new products. They were stuck in the cognitive requires that you learn what we already know. So smart people can only tell us about the truth of what we know from the past with the data. I'm looking for the future. And I know a whole lot of you on this line are doing the same things. Quick starts are very vision oriented. So what the heck is a quick start? And if you aren't initiating in quick start, you do have quick start, and we'll talk about it because every single person in the world has quick start. You all have a conative different from your cognitive. It's your natural ability, the way you strive, the way you create problems, solutions to problems. You create problems too, but it also helps you create solutions to those problems. So the conative is what you do about what you know. The cognitive is only what you know. It has nothing to do with taking action. And the affect or the emotions are what drives you to want to do it, so that you're willing to put forth the energy. So I, as a very young person, with my dad working in the cognitive, said, Dad, I love you a lot, but I don't think you're right. I still got fed, but I sure got a lot of discussions and arguments. And what I found was, very young, that there was a thing that had no name. Nobody could tell me what it was, but it drove who I wanted on my teams. It was this, how do people act? And so I've collected literally for decades data that then allowed me to prove and validate that an instrument I created, the assessment called the Kolbe A Index, will tell you the truth. These are your strengths. There's never any bad news. Everybody has an equal amount of cognitive ability. It's not a bell curve and it's not normed like cognitive. So it's the one way we all have an equal amount of cognitive talent, ability to create solutions. It's the degree to which we understand who we are and how to use it that makes the difference between success and failure. My definition of success, which I think many on the line know, is the freedom to be yourself. Well, right now, with what we're going through, with this horrible illness, a lot of people are feeling, I've lost my freedom to be myself. I'm stuck at home. Well, but you're free to do what you want to do when you're at home. So don't tell me you're not free. You're free in a different way. You're still free to be you. You can still act on who you are. So go back and revisit your Kolbe A Index. And if you haven't taken it, for goodness sakes, go to Kolbe.com, KOLBE.com. Take the Kolbe A Index. And I'm going to tell you the next best thing you should do. Get your spouse to do that. And then order the Kolbe A to A. Because there is nothing that's going to give you greater freedom to be yourself right now than the person you're living with, your spouse or your significant other, knowing what you need, because the Kolbe result is not just, here's who I am, these are my strengths. It also tells you, this is what I need to succeed. These are the freedoms I need. If you initiate in FactFinder, you need the freedom to be able to look over the information, to compare options, to look at the past so it informs you in the future. That's if you have a long red line in FactFinder, a 7 to 10 in FactFinder. I have an itty bitty little 2 in FactFinder, but I still have FactFinder, we all do. My FactFinder, the gift I have in FactFinder, my ability is to simplify. So those of you who have a 1, 2, or 3 in FactFinder, don't say I have no FactFinder. That is not true. You have the FactFinder ability, the uniqueness to be able to simplify it and say, oh yeah, I see what's going on. Here's how I'm going to make it work for me. Because this is a great opportunity for resistant FactFinders. Nobody knows what the hell is going to happen next. Nobody has the rule book. Nobody has the guidelines. by the way, the stupid banks don't know how to even prepare the loans for us. So they keep changing the rules in Washington, and then the banks can't get it straight. And those of us trying to get, I decided this morning it's a lot easier to make money than beg banks to help you get the money that the government says you should get. So as a small business person, I'm going back to where I've always been. Do the work. Just do the work, because nobody's going to give you a good handout that it takes more time to get it than just work and make it. So this is a time to create new programs and new products and to make new customer relationships. You can go back to the old, and you should, and see what you can do to help them. But you should exercise, if you are a resistant fact finder, that energy to simplify it and say, here's bottom line, the best 2 or 3 things I could do. If you're highly initiating, have a 7, 8, 9, 10 in fact finder, you should be looking at all of the data you can look at, comparing it, analyzing it, and that will help you make decisions. When you accommodate in the mid zone, it means you can go either way, and you can work with people who go either way. So if you look at your significant other's MO, if they have a lot of fact finder and you have a little bit of fact finder, let them read all of it and summarize it for you. Let them yellow highlight for you. Turn it into teamwork. Don't make it conflict. Make it energizing that you're different. In follow through, and I found these 4 modes over those years of making lists of characteristics, I found that there was a goodly percent of people, and now I can tell you from my data, because I've got about 1.5 million case studies. Yeah, I really do, and I really look at all that data a lot. My bottom line, don't tell David, my son, he looks at it in detail. I look at the bottom line. Okay, so what I saw in follow through is that there are a group of people who have a natural ability to organize, systematize, and their way of organizing is to do things sequentially. There is a way to start, there is a middle, and there is an end. So in school, you were told, write a story by having a beginning, a middle, and an end. Well, if you are initiating follow through, so 6 to 10, really 7 to 10 to initiate. So if you are initiating and follow through, you automatically thought that, oh, there I am. You already thought that was good advice to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Those people, and there are a lot of you on this call, I know many of you, there are a lot of just fabulous resistant follow-throughs. It doesn't occur to you that you have to go through that process. And you are the guys, if you're resistant to follow-through, who have it made right now because you're good at that randomness. You're good when there is no end in sight, when nobody knows what's going to happen. You're wonderful at multitasking. So for all of you, it is really, really important. I'm going to click, I'm told to click, and I follow directions because I'm a 6 in follow through. So I accommodate. So I just follow the direction there. So if you initiate structure, you would think this would be a horrible time for you. And the answer is, yeah, it is. And we all need to really be kind and considerate to the follow-throughs who are helping us do things in an orderly way. I could not do without Nicole, my follow-through wonder person on our team. She tells me what I'm supposed to do, when I'm supposed to do it. I don't have to spend my energy, my mental energy, doing it because I know she will. You need to lean on the people who give you the cognitive abilities you don't naturally have. Back to so many of you being resistant to follow through. Oh, John, John's a 2 in follow through. Oh, I love 2s in follow through because they prove me right when I say multitasking comes naturally. I once said that I got an award from a systems organization for being supposedly a great developer of a system, and then they booed me from the podium because I talked about multitasking, and they said, that's how people get killed. That's terrible. You should never say that. Oh, come on. They don't. If you can't do it, you don't understand how easily you do it. Joe Polish is another. Sitting talking to Joe is like being at a circus with the 3 things going on. I know whatever we're talking about, he's thinking about other things and watching other things. And I mean, it's just delightful to be with people who don't have to stay on one track and don't finish what they start, they pass it on. They're great at being good team members. But if you have one spouse who initiates and follow through, and there's a place for everything and everything in its place, and all the spices are alphabetized, and now the other spouse is home doing some cooking. Okay. Uran, I see Uran. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but I know that you would not alphabetize the spices. And if your spouse does, you wouldn't put them back that way. So we have a whole lot of spousal issues, particularly in follow through. And I once remember Dan Sullivan saying at a couples conference where he and I were co-presenting, and there were a lot of quick start people in the room. And most of the people in the room, this is way back when almost everybody dealing with Dan was a male. And one of the things that was said was, well, and we all need our wives to do the follow through. I believe I leapt out of my seat. I don't think there was anything graceful or polite about what I did, because there are as many resistant follow through females as there are males. There are no gender differences in the data that we're seeing. So what that means is we are falsely stereotyping the poor, dutiful wife who is absolutely as unlikely to be a follow-through as a male spouse is. So you got to know your results. You can't just say, oh, I can make a good guess. The wives do the follow-through. So many people get that wrong. Don't do it because it's cruel. It's unnecessary. It causes a lot of angst in relationships. And I'm going to go back to, if there's one thing I think all of you should do as soon as we stop talking today, go to Kolbe.com, Kolbe. I have to keep spelling my name. You know, there's now a pretty high up guy in the Catholic Church spelled that way, so it's not that hard. But there was a TV person spelled it differently. Kolbe. You need to go there, and what you do is both of you and your significant other, take the index, and then you order the A to A. And it will tell you, and I wrote every word of every result, every word of it. And I love doing that writing. I put in a box for all of you, a thing that starts with, don't even think about it. There's just some things you shouldn't even think of asking your significant other to do. By the way, when you're done doing that, do the same thing with your kids. Get their results. If they're 13 or older, we've got a Kolbe Youth Assessment. It's called the Kolbe Youth Quiz. And because I care so much about what's happening for the youth right now, I'm really, really worried about them. I'm giving this away free through the end of the month. So go get all the free ones for your kids or grandkids, and then compare it. I know all 7 of my in-town grandkids' Kolbe aptitude results. I know which ones I can help by doing what. And as a grandmother, that's a whole lot of meaningful input for your grandkids. Right now, you can help them. You also can do it with your clients. Get a client's MO and then match it with yours on the A to A, and it'll tell them they shouldn't even think about asking you to do this or expecting that, and then tell you about them. It opens up the conversation. I've had clients who have been a little hesitant to use my work in the ways I use it right now with education, health, wellness issues. Kolbe.com uses it with business and government. So when I work with people in the medical field and I talk about all this stuff, you can imagine some of the reactions I get. I said, well, try it, you'll like it. Or I don't think you're doing such a great job. Why don't you see whether this could help? I tend to be pretty out there with challenging people. If you don't know me, let's get acquainted and I'll help you be more challenging, because we need to do that right now. So with that follow through, we need to know who is where on that scale, because that is the cause of the greatest amount of conflict between people who live and work together. And right now, if you're doing both, this can save you a lot of angst. The quick start is very interesting. And again, knowing so many of you online, and a lot of you put your results up for me to see, it's really interesting how initiating quick starts initiate in moments of stress and distress. There's a great opportunity because the more quick start you have, the more you deal really, really well with uncertainty. If I know what's going to happen, I'm an 8 in quick start. Why bother doing it? I'll delegate to someone else, take it over and do this. If I don't know what is happening, okay, I'm going to grab it. That's mine. I get to do that project because I don't know where it's going. And I will take all the uncertain projects. It's not unknown cognitively. It's not when you don't know the answer. It's when it's uncertain what's going to be there or happen. When there is a moment of uncertainty, those of you whose Kolbe A result shows you have a 7 or more in quick start, this is your time. This is your era. This is your moment. Grab it. And if ever there was uncertainty, I'd never seen anything like this before. This is uncertain time. So I want to see each and every one of you get out there and do the uncertain, challenge it, figure out where you fit in, experiment, explore, contribute, do the things that quick start and only a quick start would be doing right now. If there are 10 other people doing it, get out and go do something else. And don't argue, don't fight, don't compete. Do your thing. Because this is when your thing is going to work for you and the world. Now, if you're a resistant quick start, and I have resistant quick start in my family, now is a time when I really, really wish I could give them more hugs, because this is a really challenging time for a resistant quick start. How about all those bankers who can't figure out how to help you with the loans? By the way, I make all my bankers, my accountants, my attorneys, I make every vendor take a Kolbe index. I don't want them all to be the same. I want differences. I want a group of people who are my advisors who have cognitive synergy or differences. That's what you want in your advisors. You don't want to hear everybody give you the same kind of advice from the same mindset. So a resistant quick start is a wonderful person to have as a friend right now and in your advisory group, because what they naturally do, their go-to position is to provide stability. Well, stability is essential. We can talk all we want about, well, we can innovate, we can come up with a new thing, yes, but some things in our life have to have stability. What are they? How much do we need saved where? How far out can we go taking risks? I'm launching a new product line next week. I'm giving away, as I told you, for those kids. I want to give away. I feel I should do it, and I'm going to do it, right? I don't know how that's going to affect my business. It's uncertain. But I'm going with my heart, and I think we have to start everything we do with the affect and then move into the cognitive and then edit. That's the Kolbe creative process. And with quick start resistant people, it is very important for them to keep saying, yes, I understand why you want to do that. Cognitively understand it, but it's making me so uncomfortable because where's the stability? We need them to speak up. We need to listen to them. We need them on our teams. Don't let them scare you, let them inform you. It is the accommodating quick starts who are earning their spurs right now because they have to run interference between the haves and the have-nots in terms of the quick start aversion to uncertainty versus the quick starts go for it people. And I kind of wish each and every one of you had some advisor I knew for sure accommodated in quick start, because I would feel better on your behalf that you were hearing someone say, yeah, but how is that going to impact him? Or what's that going to do to them? I have team members who accommodate in Quick Start, and I really rely on them right now more than ever. So I think that, oh, David came in and said, do the takes two. Oh my gosh, thank you, David. I love you so much. Oh, yes. Go to Kolbe.com and whatever else you do, do the A to A and takes two. David wrote takes two, and I'm so proud of that guy. Okay, I got to tell you, because a lot of you know David. David's the fact finder initiator who taught me the value of fact finder initiators. And he's the guy who is keeping Kolbe at the top of its game with every single member of his team in place. He's finding ways to make it work through this tough time. And he wrote takes two. And imagine David's 8 in fact finder and Kathy's 2 in fact finder. And we have worked together all of his adult, well, no, from the time he was in junior high school. He edited my stuff. Oh, David, you're welcome. I mean, I just really think you should know when you have cognitive conflicts, they're real. And we fight through our conflicts a lot of times. I try to bite my tongue and I don't do it very well. And he tries to edit and he doesn't do it very well. But we end up better for it. And I think it's important we understand how vital it is that we don't judge each other, that we let each other contribute in the ways that Kolbe is showing you are important. I think I learned almost all I've learned about the fact finder mode by watching David over the years. And I kept encouraging him to be a lawyer. And then when he came on, I said, oh my God, I got a lawyer in the family. I used his fact finder legal and his Wharton business degrees, and I use all of that and love it. And so you need to learn to love what you sometimes don't like. I don't like doing the fact finder, so I got to love it when someone else I care about and trust does it. And the implementer needs the here and now to be okay. The implementer needs quality in their life. They really resist anything that's slipshod. I had an implementer client. I was on the phone and I was trying to help this guy. He runs a construction business and he does all kinds of incredibly wonderful implementer things and makes a lot of money doing it. But right now, he said, I'm at home. I've got my computer on this rickety table and it's just jiggling back and forth, and yeah, the kids have this and the kids have that because they need it to do this work and that work. And I'm stuck on this jiggly table, Kathy. And I said, okay, it serves you right because you know your MO and you know you could fix it. And you need to take time out, fix the table or build another table, but stop with all the fact finder, quick start things you're trying to do and set up your space to fit your needs. I think it's really, really important to do that. And I hope all of you value what the implementers are doing right now, the food chain, the medical supplies, the building things in a hurry. They are not going to build things that don't work. If you have implementers building all of that equipment we need, it will work. We got to be really careful that we don't take them out of the position. It really bothers me that I don't know that the medical world is using Kolbe enough to be sure that we have implementers doing quality check on all these things that are being created on an emergency basis. The world would be safer, physically safer, with more implementers involved. The implementer doctor can feel your forehead, can touch and know so much more about you than someone who's just looking at a thermometer. I'd love to get Sanjay Gupta's result. If anybody knows him, let's get him to take the Kolbe. Because I have a hunch he's a quick start implementer, accommodating to fact finder and resistant to follow through. Let's see if I'm right. Oh, by the way, never guess. No, I say, and I want to be clear on this, go ahead and guess people's result, but don't act on it, don't hire, don't do anything without double checking it. The resistant implementers are also important because they can imagine solutions. They can envision what's going to happen. And right now, when so many of our infrastructures are breaking down, the combination of a resistant implementer working with an initiating follow-through can design futuristic equipment and materials and physical scenarios. So they can put together the new hospital. You need the quick start involved to make it happen fast, find the money, find the spot, make it work fast. You need the follow-through, however, the initiating follow-through, to be sure every single step is lined up ahead of time. It will go more smoothly. But in the end, if you don't have implementers involved in the actual construction, putting it together, we're in danger. So when you hear me say all this, and I could talk for hours about all the benefits and all the values of every single insist and resist and accommodation, the world was created with these 12 strengths, and we each get 4 of them, only 4. So none of us can do it all. We absolutely need each other. That's why you got to try to save your team. This is the hardest part right now, I think, for most of us who run businesses. It's really, really hard because if we used Kolbe, we created synergistic teams. We created teams with the right people in the right place. We not only affectively care about our people, we cognitively know we've done the right thing by putting them together with a conative right fit. Don't give up on using the conative right fit. Don't just throw people together. And if you have to have some people leave, keep checking your synergy. Keep looking at your Kolbe dynamics. You need to be so sure that you're not giving up the benefits you have available through Kolbe. Right people in the right place, the right synergy or mix of people, not only on your team, among your advisors, that you have conflicts that you turn into synergy and turn into an advantage because of different points of view. You can do it in your family, you can do it in your business, but for goodness sakes, do it. And if there's a way I can help you or David can help you, Kolbe Corp has a group of people well, they're not in the office, in their homes, but they're all hooked up. However, he's done a magnificent job of making it work. They are there. They are not closed down. Kolbe Corp is there to guide you and help you find the right thing. If you're dealing with family, with kids, especially with teenagers, go get that free stuff. Talk to me about, next week I'll be talking to some of you about our work with little tiny ones. I want to launch new products next week. Am I crazy? No, I am not crazy. I may be stupid, but I'm not crazy. I am going to launch a new product because the world needs it right now. And that is to find out what the younger kids' results are. You all need to know your results if you don't know it. And several of you have been saying, or I know that you've known your results for years. I'd love to see your questions. And I'll be here as long as you want me to stay here answering them. Joe, do you have questions?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, that was great, by the way, so thank you. One of the things that I remember you saying to me years ago is that some research that you had done through different schools and stuff is that the majority of the teachers were high research and low quick start, and then the troublemaking kids, which would account for many of the quick starts that were labeled ADD, ADHD, and, you know, got sent to the principal's office and were, you know, troublemakers. As you said, you know, the school system was not designed for many that would fall into the entrepreneurial category. So they would be punishing and in many cases drugging these kids because they could not, you know, their MOs didn't match who their teachers were. And so it makes me think right now that, you know, my question to you is really about how do entrepreneurs right now maintain focus and clarity? How do they take their, you know, troublemaking aspects of them and actually utilize those in talents? And just have you really speak to that, because and what made me think of this, and I'm sorry, I'm kind of formulating my question as I'm talking out loud, is you said, I'm not crazy.
That's what you do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you said, I'm not crazy, maybe stupid, but the fact is, what is crazy? I mean, like what, there's a fine line between, crazy and, genius. And so I'd love to get some of your perspective on it, because I think a lot of what manifests is like very bad, dysfunctional, behavior that doesn't serve us is just, these resources that we have as being humans, not creating that environment and outlet to utilize it in a great way. Because some people right now will do amazing things to help their clients, help their team, help their families, and others are, self-destructive. I mean, I've had two people I know last week that attempted to commit suicide that have families, millionaires, and smart, but the stress level did not, it's not working for them. So wanted to have you kind of speak to that a little.
Okay, I want to speak to about 5 things you just said.
Right, I tried to do that. Yeah, I tried to give you 5 subjects to talk, which I really did. I mean, if anyone paid attention to that, yeah, it was kind of a weird question.
I'm kind of on to you, Joe.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be smiling, but I have to smile when I think about that. Among your questions are some of what I consider our greatest battles. I am doing a very strong research and delivery system to prevent suicide. Suicide has gone up 30% in the last 5 years with our youth. We've been doing, with all these free things we're giving out, don't tell anybody. I'm looking at the data. And part of the data includes an analysis of their self-efficacy for youth. And what I'm seeing is a lot of our youth who are insecure are the ones who try to prevent suicide. But when they see their Kolbe result, the student aptitude quiz tells them how great they are and goes into detail. You're good at this and this and this, and these are all the things that you can achieve and accomplish in life. It tends to mitigate that insecurity that leads to suicide. I believe if we use that with adults right now, the more adults who see their Kolbe now, who have never known it but are down, are really depressed, the more lives we're going to save. So in addition to your own family and the people who are maybe driving you nuts, but you can show them how and you can work through it. If you know people who are depressed right now, I do believe one of the important things you could give them is the Kolbe A index to take. They will both see or read and hear how great they are and how much they have to offer. And we are finding that Kolbe makes a significant difference in building self-efficacy. So I want to say that to you, because every single person I know who is depressed, who has taken the Kolbe, has found some reasons to see value in themselves and to see a future. Right now, a lot of people lost what they thought was all they had to do or give. And they should also take OpGig. And you can get OpGig either when you take a Kolbe A result. OpGig is our career program, and you get it discounted. You go take the Kolbe A or tell someone to, they can then get our career program that says, based on your Kolbe result and your interest, here are all the things you'd be great at. And by the way, you can click on them and see, you get all kinds of information you can see. But one thing you can do is click and see where within 100 miles of where you are there careers, job openings for you. So there's hope. So I want to really encourage you to include OpGig with the A for people you know are depressed because of maybe losing jobs. Anybody who's lost a job or lost hope, the best thing I can advise is give them the Kolbe A and OpGig, and it is discounted at Kolbe.com now, so do it. Now, your other question is one you know, Joe, is so dear to my heart also. There's so many things that are dear to my heart. I could go on and on, but you've mentioned two that you know are real hot buttons for me. Do not, if you are a quick start implementer, do not let anybody pathologize that. The schools in parent conferences tell parents, your kid doesn't pay attention. Your kid doesn't stay focused. Your kid moves around a lot. Your kid is so now, we probably should put them on drugs. Slow this down. And, pathologizing cognitive abilities. Well, yeah, the kid's squirrely because you make them sit there how many hours and not move around? How many hours does the teacher stay seated, listening to someone talk without getting up and moving around? The teacher can't do it. None of us can do it. And we expect kids who are constitutionally unable because of their MO for that to help them show their talent. It's not that they can't do it, it's they can't show their talent and do it. What they show is their disgust, their discomfort. They show that it isn't working. And instead of the teacher say, oh, I see this isn't working, the teacher says, the kid isn't doing what I told him to do, and therefore the kid's a problem, and I can't have this in my classroom. And then, the parent says, you know what? I'm having problem managing Joey at home too. Joey, never finishes Legos. He doesn't do the whole thing. He doesn't follow directions. How many of you follow directions? If I could see the show of hands, it wouldn't be many, because it's the initiating follow through that creates the directions, who follows the directions, and most of you are not, because of the nature of you being in this group. That's not probably what you do. There'd be a small percentage. One time, Joe, I had the percentages for, I think everybody was at one of your big programs. But anyway, most of the time, kids who are initiating Quick Start and Implementer are presented as having problems that need to be fixed. And very often, the schools recommend meds. Well, they're not medicine. What they are drugs. And the drugs change their behavior, rob them of the freedom to be themselves, and therefore they won't find success in school. Again, success is the freedom to be yourself. If you're drugged so that you don't do that, and it slows you down, and it changes your brain from your strengths to this oddball concoction, you will not succeed in school. You will not be at your best. And that was done to you. I consider it child abuse.
Wow. I mean, that's very good. So thank you. You know what? Let me ask everyone, just as we go along here, if you have a question for Kathy, go ahead and post it in the chat, and I will read them. And and then if we need to open it up and just have people, if I might call on them and do that. So Kathy, based on what you said, so you obviously have a real serious passion for children and learning. What do you see happening now amidst this crisis as it pertains to the educational system? Because when we were sitting on that bench, a few days ago, far away from each other, you were talking about how all of the teachers now having to shift to online learning, all of the parents at home with their children, college students having to leave, college and going, home. And in many cases, so we are in the middle of this massive pressure cooker in the educational system. So what's your perspective? What do you think is going to happen or is happening? And what do you believe, for people listening here, they should be aware of? Because you're talking about some incredible, influential individuals that are, listening to you right now.
We are doing more at the moment to educate our kids than the schools have been doing most of their lives in school. Parents need to be really clear, trust your instincts. Don't try to mimic what the schools are doing. Do what works for you in your home. Show them how to do things the way you do them. Be sure what you're doing. I have to plug in my phone just a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Be sure what you're doing is your truth, works for you, is natural for you. Because if it's not, can you hear me, Joe?
Yeah, I can hear you. For some reason, I'm only seeing me on the video here, but there you are. There you are.
Okay. So what's really important is to trust your own instincts. Because what I know is what most of the parents are doing right now. Oh, I don't know what just happened.
Yeah, we can still hear you, though.
Okay. What most of the parents are doing right now is better than any classroom would do. I think most of the time when they're sitting watching a teacher on camera is wasted time, but the kids aren't focused entirely on it anyway. At least I doubt that they are. Very few teachers have the skills to do what you do, Joe. They don't know how to capture an audience online. They don't know how to do what business people do with Zoom and other programs. So they're struggling. And as they struggle, the kids are seeing those struggles. And I think they're learning one extremely important lesson, which is you better learn technology. You better figure out how to do this stuff because it's important. They're seeing it as more important than any other time they've ever seen it. So I think one of the advantages at the moment is the reality of the situation is causing kids to evaluate. They're evaluating what government is and isn't doing. They're seeing the inconsistencies state by state. They're soaking it up. And I think they're very wise. I think a whole lot of kids would benefit from watching what you're doing and the seminars you're going to. They'd learn more from that than they're learning from the kind of ad hoc stuff teachers are trying to do. I think some of the TV, I happen to love TV. I learned so much I love stupid TV. I love sports. I love the business stuff. I love the old stuff. There's so much to learn if you watch, and you don't even have to pick and choose carefully. And don't stay on the educational channels. Look at the really fun things. My grandkids sit around and evaluate The Bachelor, and I think they learn more about relationships by knocking that program. I mean, they learn a lot. Well, I would never do this. Well, why did she do that? Well, how come? And the conversations can be at a really high problem-solving level. So I would say to parents, fear not. Trust your judgment. Don't wait for the video lesson to start. You're teaching them every day in every way. I want you to be strong. I want you to be an advocate for the family, for the parent, for the well, you can involve grandparents. I was texting with David's son, Jack, this morning, and I was listening to some music that he produced. He's a freshman in college and doing some amazing things with music. Go listen to Stella Brown. It's a song that he's worked on. And I'm going to tell you, when you listen to Stella Brown and you think, there's a bunch of kids doing this out of their dorm rooms, and they're making money doing it. And so as I'm texting him back and forth about, well, I listened to Stella Brown, and here's what I thought. And then there was some other music that came on, and he said, well, what was that? And he said, I don't know what music it was, but I liked it. I mean, we are having a discussion at a higher level than most grandkids have with their grandparents because we're freewheeling it. I'm just saying what I'm interested in. I'm not teaching. The need to use classic educational materials and programs right now is inappropriate. Ditch it. Teach them about life. This is, pretend. You don't need to pretend. This is real. Make it real. Teach the reality. Let them know the economic situation. Talk with them about, don't scare them. Don't scare them. They're already scared. Don't scare them. But talk realities. Let them sit in on some conference calls. But for goodness sakes, trust your instincts because you're the best teachers they'll ever have.
Yeah, that's great. Really, really good. Thank you. So there's about 4 questions here we'll go to John. So he wrote, as an innovator and implementer, do you look to hire an assistant with good follow-through?
Use Kolbe Right Fit. Because the problem when I tell you just, oh yeah, of course you need a follow-through. I don't know your business. I don't know how you separate tasks. I also don't know, and this is key, the other players. When you're hiring, you should go through the process of using the Kolbe Right Fit program for sure.
Great. Yep, there you go. So John Ratliff wrote, hi, Joe. Excellent. Had no idea we'd go down the kid path, but wow, powerful. My question is around implementer. I understand the other 3 categories, I think, well, but I am a 5 implementer, 9 quick start, but not sure what my 5 means. So how would you better describe to him what the 5 implementer means for John Ratliff?
Oh, John, thank you so much for asking that question because I needed to answer it. The accommodating 4, 5, and 6s are as important and vital contributions as initiating and prevention. Having a 5 in any mode means you are the go-to person. You are the key to productivity in that mode. I think it is amazingly important that you have people with fives in any mode. In the implementer mode, it means safety, 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 and quality. Because the implementer mode is the mode through which we not only create the quality things that won't be the rickety table, but also the quality of things that are built to last, things that literally have substance, right material. So if you're in publishing, you need the book cover to feel right. No matter what you're doing, you need implementer, and yet they're the most overlooked talent. In accommodation, you will be so good at evaluating whether or not the materials you're using have enough quality. You will also be driven towards safety. Safety is a key factor for all of us, and it combines especially the implementer. So the implementer accommodator will be aware of and always looking at follow through, and will call to insistent implementers to build it and provide it. But the person who's going to figure out something's wrong with the picture, something doesn't feel right, something isn't sturdy enough, something is not, not working right, they're going to sense it first. So your five and implementer is like the canary in the cage. You're going to know when something's wrong, and then you go to the initiating implementer to fix it. The preventative implementer is the one who will just make do and jerry-rig, slapdash. Well, we need that. And right now, that maybe you don't have the money to fix everything you want to fix right now, and all those grand ideas you had, maybe we got to change up on those. So the preventative implementer will be able to do a make-do jerry-rig solution. That canary in the cage, five you've got, and that's a 4, 5, and 6, is going to say, yes, but that's not safe enough. No, that won't quite do. And the 5 in fact finder is the one who edits that document that the fact finder wrote and simplifies, but not oversimplifies. The 5 and that middle, when I say 5, 5's the golden number that I always want to see some of in every organization. When I consult with companies, I'll say, where are your 5s? And if the 5s aren't there, go find them. You need to recruit 5s. The 5 in follow through is the person who will accommodate bureaucracy, accommodate integration, will find a way to coordinate efforts. So think of that, accommodating, coordinating, integrating, such powerful contributions. Very rarely given prizes or awards. They have to self-congratulate. The 5 in quick start is the one who'll actually try what you made up. I remember making gush gush as a kid. Gush gush was this concoction of berries and leaves and things outdoors that were in the backyard, so I figured they wouldn't poison anyway, but I would make gush gush out of it. And Mikey Mittendorf lived next door, and he must have been a facilitator, which means a 4, 5, and 6 in all the modes, because he was my star tester. He would always test whatever gush gush I made. And when I think about my life, there have been a lot of Mikey Mittendorfs around who are willing to try what I concocted. We as a culture are dependent upon people in the middle keeping us from killing each other because we couldn't resolve the conflicts. But we also need them to keep us from going too far in any particular direction. And Ben and others who are follow through, I just want to tell you that without follow throughs, the world wouldn't work. We were created in such wonderfully diverse ways. I really think that when we have the facilitator, and I think Kolbe's doing a great job of enhancing, we're developing ever better results for the facilitator. I like the audio result that I've done for the facilitator. If you have an old facilitator result, go get a new one, because I think it's important.
I'm going to ask you a question from Gianluca. So he wrote, my question is, I'm feeling extremely motivated and focused. Does Kathy have any advice on how to maintain the momentum for a 3 quick start? And bear with me, for some reason it disappeared.
for a 3 quick start, and also any advice on how to strengthen my quick decision-making skills. And then he wrote below that, strengthen the muscles of my quick decision-making skills. So any advice on that?
Tell me his name again.
Gianluca.
Okay. I just want to tell you, I reject your question, and I will not answer how you need to change who you are, because you're perfect the way you are. Absolutely perfect the way you are. You do not need to change your 3 and quick start. You need to figure out how to put it to good use. That's totally different. I don't want you to strengthen muscles that weren't meant to be used. You have quick start muscles, and your quick start muscles help you provide stability. And oh my gosh, if you lose that, what is the world going to do? We are desperate for your help. We need you to be a stabilizer. We need your help showing us how to do that. We need your enthusiasm for it. We need your suggestions. Do not try to be something you're not. And that's true for all of you. But if all of the preventative quick starts who are stabilizers try to become more quick start, you will ruin the balance on the earth. You will cause harm. Yeah, it's not going to work, so I'm not too worried. You can't change yourself. And any effort you put into trying to change yourself is just kind of stupid. It's just a waste of time and energy. You'll get tired, you'll get frustrated, you'll get, no. It's worse than the flu. It's just, you got to stick to being you, and you got to find ways to stabilize, step in and say, yes, but.
Yeah, that's great. And by the way, Gianluca sent me a message privately, but I'll just out him right now. He wrote, he sent me his Kolbe, and then he wrote, I love her, which is great.
I love you too. And so help me God, don't you dare stop being you. I cannot say it too much to people. You were created to be who you're meant to be. Do not change a thing about you. Enable yourself to be you. Be you. It sounds like some brand thing. Yeah, but I got the proof. I have the evidence. I know it works, and you will succeed. And we need your 3 so much, so give it to us.
Yeah. That's great about that line, enable yourself to be you. I mean, that is, and disable those things that are, causing you not to be you or making you think you don't need to be. So I love it. Of course.
By the way, Joe, I want to add in here, a whole lot of quick starts start businesses and seek out quick start partners because they finish each other's sentences and they say, oh, we think alike, and so it's great. That's the kiss of death for a partnership. And I've proven that over and over and over again with my work and with data. You want partners who are different from you. So work with Kolbe Corp on how to put together teams with synergy. You have a chance to go back at it. We're all going to be back at work. We're all at work, but we're all going to be thriving and moving forward very quickly. When you do that, be sure you have synergy and don't leave any MO out.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, let me look at the next question here. So JP Cooper. All right. Hey, Joe, I'd like to learn more about the program going out next week for children. Also, do you have any plans to validate your studies on suicide/insecurity so that physicians can direct treatment in that direction? We see lots of teens with insecurities. I wonder if you could validate a quick study of PHQ-9 to that of the teenage population. It would be easy to write out. So that's
okay. So any of you who want to work with us on the research on suicide, please contact me directly. Just Kolbe at Kolbe.com, because we've got a lot of data. We're working with several universities, with many professionals in the field. Our data goes back quite a ways. I was looking at some new data today, and I'll just give you a little tidbit of it. One of the things that I think is as detrimental as insecurity is arrogance. I believe arrogant attitude disability, or AAD, arrogant attitude disability, is as bad as or worse than any other learning disability. People who are arrogant don't learn. What I have found with work we're doing always on an ongoing basis, we're testing and getting the data for the suicide programs. What we're finding is today, in this era that we're going through, arrogance has dropped 3% in our youth. So our data has shown a 3% drop in arrogance among teenagers. That's huge, and that's good. And it's important. Now, how do we get this out there? How do we use it? With your help, we'll do more research. We'll reach more people who can help us do something with it. Dynamind is a very small skunk works. There's just a few of us working together on this. We use no federal, state, or local funding. We have no grants at this point because I'm a purist. I don't want anybody telling me how to do it or meddling with my numbers. But now is the time to create partners in this research. So if you want to be a partner in the suicide research and help us, please let me know. I'm really reaching out for help with that. The other question dealt with what?
Let me go back to, I think it was more, I didn't quite understand. It says, also, do you have any plans to validate? Yeah, your insecurity, so physicians can direct treatment. So you covered that. We see lots of teens. I wonder if you could validate a quick study of PHQ-9 to that for the teenage population.
We have a lot of validated, everything we do, we validate. We're very, very profoundly data-driven. So contact me directly and let's talk about some of the questions. Maybe you can help us do some things we're not doing. We're working with several universities. We have quite an amazing global network. They don't work for me, and I like that. They're all independent, and it's quite wonderful to share data. So let me know if you're interested, but go directly to me.
Awesome. Okay, so wonderful. Now, and your contact was put into the chat. So what I'm gonna share a few comments that people made, and I think, Kathy, you have another appointment in less than 10 minutes, so we will do a couple of other, say a few more things, and we'll wrap up here for everyone. So let's see. Tanya wrote, "This is awesome. Thank you, Kathy and Joe, for such a great presentation. Gordy, my kids are so stoked to discover their superpowers. Thank you, Kathy and Dynamine." And let's see. Yeah, Gianluca, yeah, I have a huge smile on my face. Thank you, Kathy. Daryl's, oh, you know what, Randy, where's Randy's comment? Randy wrote, "We've been using Right Fit for Hiring for many years and find it immensely helpful. Wouldn't hire without it." Daryl Sutherland wrote, 2295 is his Kolbe. "Thanks, Joe, for sharing Kathy's genius. Her work has been so important to me and the people around me. In fact, I won't work personally with anyone that hasn't taken and understands their Kolbe score." And then, of course, JP just wrote, "Thank you." So, and then Sandra, wonderful, very powerful message. So, Kathy, what didn't I ask you, or what didn't we talk about that you would like all of the entrepreneurs that are watching and listening to hear?
I'll answer that in a minute. Before that, I remember the question was that someone wanted more information on this stuff for the little kids.
Oh, yes.
So it's called Brainiac, and we can assess kids from 1.5 years old up to when they can take the youth index. So your 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-olds, all of them from 2 years old basically to 12 years old. If you're interested in Brainiac, you're hearing about it before the market knows about it. We're launching it next week. I will provide Brainiac for you at a deeply discounted rate. I'm not going to do what David's doing, giving it to you free, because it takes me personally. I interpret every single one of the Brainiac videos. What it is, it's a bag of, looks like glop shop, if you know that. So it's carefully selected materials in a bag. We give it to the kids to play with in your home setting. You have a video. You email us the video. Right now, I look at, as I say, every single one, and I'm training other people who watch with me so they'll be able to do it in the future. And from a list of 150 possible things kids could do with this, I can tell their MO. We've validated it against the Kolbe Y and the Kolbe A. And so what I know is that this is a way we can tell you, this little kid who seems frustrated, it may be because of this, or here's how to empower your kid, or here's one of the things parents like to know. what kind of a sports program, what kind of a musical instrument. We tell you that stuff. This could be a pianist, or this could be a guitarist, or this could be, in sports, soccer would be better than baseball for the kids. So I get into those kinds of things, and I deliver the results personally. So we do charge a fee. So we'll let you know what that is. Just let us know you're interested, and we'll tell you the price.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. So again, so going back to my thing, what didn't I ask you that I should have asked you, or any message that you would like to leave everyone with from everything from dealing with, the challenges that they're going through, or minimizing or avoiding anything that you would recommend they actually do? Just any final words of advice, or something that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share or talk about?
Yeah. I think, have I lost you? No, you can see me.
I can
Okay.
see.
Yeah, there's one thing I would like to share with you. I've always been known as a hugger. I love hugging people. It's kind of what I do. It's been terribly difficult for me to not be able to hug people. It's difficult for me not to be able to hug my family members, my grandkids. It's really, really hard. And so what I want to say to you is, this is a time when we have to figure out, what do we miss the most? And then we have to do something about it. I haven't decided. I haven't written poetry for years. I used to write some poetry. I may even do a poem about hugging. I may do some photography because I love that. But I'm going to do something to express my feelings in a way that a hug would. And I think we all need to find a way, whatever it is that's bothering us the most, find a conative way. So that means every time I say conative, it means take an action, do something. Instead of feeling it and thinking it, do something about it. I'm going to do something. I'm going to create something, whether I show it to anybody else ever or not. But I do think it is profoundly important that we meet whatever need we have that isn't being met, because we have the freedom to do that. Do it your own way.
Awesome. Absolutely. I mean, the weirdest thing the other day was just like seeing you and not hugging, I mean, we like, how many years have we known each other and stuff? Yeah.
We're both huggers.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Connection is really important. And so, well, here's what I would say. For those of you that I've done some really fantastic interviews with Kathy that you can find just by doing a Google search for my name and her name on my podcast. She's actually had me on her podcast. So you can find all of those if you just simply do a Google search. So those of you that it seems like everyone really got a lot of value out of this, and you'll get a lot more by just going deeper with the sites and everything. And so you can look through the chat. Like I'd mentioned before, we'll continue to put anything on the membership site at the Genius Network membership site, the Genius Network Facebook group for all of you. And what we'll do, because I know a lot of you would want other people to hear this, we're giving Genius Network members the opportunity to be here live, and we'll take this recording and we'll make it available. We'll most likely put it out as a podcast, and then also on the geniusnetworkinsights.com, which is the page we've set up with all kinds of different resources, from navigating the CARES Act to, top doctors, to how to think about your business, to how to, Keith Cunningham's KPIs. I mean, there's so many different things to look at. So some of the final things was from Tim. This was fantastic. Thank you so much, Kathy, and thank you so much, Joe. Randy wrote, thank you, Kathy and Joe. I understand my Kolbe score so much more now. This is great. And then Paul Colligan wrote, thank you, Kathy. You know how much you've helped our family. John wrote, I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. I'm very interested in Brainiac, and thank you for the reminder of who I am. I've looked at this. I have looked at this data. I haven't looked at this data, I guess is what it means, in several years. So Kathy, as always, you're awesome. Really, really appreciate it. And I know everyone that's out there listening, this is such an interesting way to connect. And I know that, you're all doing the very best you can. And I hope that what we shared with you today will just help you, like you had mentioned, I wrote that down, enable yourself to enable you to be yourself. Right. And I hope this really just helps you. And we're going to continue
to put things out there. And if need be, maybe me and Kathy will do another one of these, and we'll keep you posted of everything that she's doing and that Kolbe's putting out there that'll help you be a better entrepreneur and a better connected human being. So on behalf of myself and everyone at Genius Network, Kathy, thank you so much.